It is 5:30, and tonight we have several items, and so one of them, it requires to have some people here from out of city. And so to do that, we're going to go into I'm gonna call to order, it's 5:30, our special city council meeting. I don't know how long it'll take, but we're going to, we're gonna do tractor first, I guess.
Yes, sir. That'll
Okay,
be
let's do
real-
the tractor
yeah.
first. So who's, Derek? Darren?
Brett, come on up, but let me handle it.
I didn't see you there, Brett, I'm sorry.
If you have any questions, you can direct them to Brett. We put in the budget this year to replace one of the tractors at the park. It's that budgeted amount, $54,771. They've been working with Techstar Kubota, and doing it through Buy Board of Cooperative Purchasing. They're willing to give us a $9,000 on our trade-in of the tractor we're replacing, so that brings it down to $45,771 below budget. So we're asking council to approve that purchase this evening, and have any questions Mr. Moore can answer.
Absolutely.
Questions?
Is this one of the pieces of equipment we use in the park and or cemeteries, or
100%, yes, sir.
either one, or?
So all parks and leisure services, cemeteries, athletics, parks and building and grounds, all can utilize this piece of
Okay,
equipment.
and we have a trailer and pickup that will haul it.
It actually rides on the road. It's a pretty big machine.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yes, sir.
okay.
So don't go out there and try to race with it. Any other questions? So recommendation is to approve the purchase.
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the purchase of the tractor from Techstar Kubota as budgeted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, with that in mind, now we'll, so you want? Okay. Here, you bought a tractor, leave there. You ever had a tractor before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go.
I second
All right,
it.
we're going to recess into executive session in compliance with the provision of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes, annotated in accordance with Section 551.071, consultation with attorney over, consult over pending or contemplated litigation. Sorry, we'll be back, I promise you. Appreciate you being here tonight. call us back out of executive session. There was nothing discussed in executive session requires action on the councils. Therefore, the city special council meeting is adjourned. Next item is going to be to committee meetings. I'll call us to order at 6:34. And first item is nominations committee. Ms. Smith.
So after the last committee meeting, there was some talk about the mayor being allowed to vote on committee meetings to make an action, not to make an action, but two things to move forward, to have a quorum. So I think that what's recommended is, currently the mayor is a non-voting member of any committee. And the action on the board tonight would be to allow the mayor to be a voting committee member to make the vote for. So if we didn't have a full four, he would be the fourth vote. Anybody have any questions or comments or concerns about that?
My thought about that is, we got an interesting email from Mr. Thurman. Did y'all read that? And his position was a little bit different than what the proposal here is about the, if it's necessary to have a quorum of the committee, which we've had situations before where we didn't have a quorum and couldn't have a committee meeting, but the mayor was present. So, that would alleviate that situation and allow us to go ahead and have the committee meeting and make a recommendation to council rather than go to council without the committee first hearing it. I thought that was logical, and I thought it made sense for the operation of the city and for things to move forward without having to either call another committee meeting or take it without being able to discuss it as a committee. Because technically, if you don't have a quorum, the committee can't meet and you can't do anything with it. But I thought that made sense. And then if he's necessary to vote for that or necessary to break a tie, both of those made sense to me. If you've got 4 members and you've got a 2-2 tie, which is possible, then the mayor could break that tie as he does for a regular council meeting. Both of those made sense to me. Rather than as it is presented, it's not quite that clear to me in the verbiage that has been presented.
So, let me pop in just a little. You couldn't do it and have him break a tie and have it be called a committee meeting.
And that'd be a quorum.
Correct?
So
That makes it a quorum.
that's why this is written the way it is, to keep it all at 4 members or less.
Okay?
That the only time he can participate in actually voting is when it's either to make the quorum or it still doesn't go over the 4 members. Now, if you guys choose, you wanna just keep it to make it a quorum, that's your call. But we just wanted to ensure that the mayor would never be a 5th vote, because then it's not a committee meeting, it's a unannounced council meeting. So that's what we wanted to be careful of in this verbiage.
Understood, and that's a good point. And we don't want to cross that line for sure.
Amen.
Leanne, Lon? Do you have anything, any questions? So are you recommending, Alan, that we change it to where he's not as written, but sorry, getting back to that, just where it's written there. To where he is to make a quorum, but not to break a tie, or what was?
Correct.
So I guess we need to make a motion to move it to council to make those changes to the laws the motion would be that we are allowing the mayor to vote to reach a quorum for the committee meeting to take place.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
That would be my thought on amending what we have. It's probably semantics more than anything else, but it does allow us to conduct business even if someone's absent.
Well, maybe I misunderstood what you said, what you said, Maddie. Because I think the way it's written, I don't think that's exactly how you said it.
It wasn't, because what Alan recommended was different than what was written.
You're, Mr. Nix, let me see if I can clarify. You're saying it should only be, mayor should only vote if it makes the quorum to have the meeting. So he would be the third vote
Correct.
and only the third vote.
Right.
If there's at least three
If
members
three,
present,
yeah.
he would continue to be a non-voting member.
Correct.
This says he could make the fourth member
Yeah, really, he
currently.
can make the third. It'd be a
Right,
quorum.
and what
Right.
you're saying is he can only make the third.
He could make the third member
Yes.
so that it would be possible to
Right.
have a quorum
Right.
to
Right.
conduct the
Right.
meeting,
Right,
Right.
right, right, right.
but not the fourth member.
No,
Right.
No, you already
Yes.
have, you already have a quorum, you got three people there.
Right. I agree.
That would be my motion.
Motion on the floor is to allow the mayor to vote to meet the quorum of a committee, but not to make a fourth.
Correct.
That's a motion by Alan. Is there a second?
Second.
A second.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That'll move forward to council with positive recommendation to allow the mayor to be the third committee member to make a quorum. And that is all for the nominations committee at this time.
Okay, Mr. Carr, Public Health and Safety.
We need to consider approval of covered applications and prohibited technology policy, and Chief Harris is here to fill us in on that.
So, Mr. Chair, distinguished members of council, the past legislative session passed SB 1983, requiring a lot of entities, but us especially as a government entity, political subdivision, to adopt a policy preventing TikTok from being installed on our city-owned devices, our city leased devices, and any others that they determine going forward from Austin that says, hey, this is a prohibited application and this one an additional one. So right now it's primarily TikTok, but what that resulted in is we authored based upon, a city policy based upon the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Department of Information Resources, or state IT, came together and developed a model policy, which is what you have in your packet. The only difference in that packet that I haven't done yet is add that for city policy to chapter 6, which we looked at 6.19 being that policy in working with the city manager. And so we have, as a city, till November 20th to adopt that policy as part of that new state law in there. So we worked also with IT, and there's a couple of things that we didn't want it to impact, which there is a caveat for that related to law enforcement operations, or if we have to take a standalone device in order to prosecute or apprehend or arrest a criminal, we can do so related to that, but not with the network. And also other areas that it identifies there, but we worked with them to make sure our IT department is good with this policy and that model policy. So state provided a model policy. We assured it would work for us with the city, and is now being presented to you for consideration for approval.
Any questions from the committee?
What about a case where you're needing evidentiary information off of TikTok?
So we can retrieve it. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Now, obviously, there are different ways to do that, but this gives us the authority and ability to do that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So it would not prohibit us from doing that. Just not do it via the network.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? Well, I will move that we approve the covered applications and prohibited technology policy. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, so we will, all in favor?
Uh,
So we will approve covered applications and prohibited technology policy.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Chief Harris.
Now, next, you have to take TikTok off your iPad. Do you even know what TikTok is?
First, I'd have to know how to put it on there.
the sound is watching.
Then I'd have to know how to access it.
Yeah, I think you were talking about TikTok.
That's a bridge too far.
Public Works Committee, Mr. Nix.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, we've got several items on our agenda tonight. First item up is a agreement that we have with the Upper Leon River Municipal Water District In 1999, we entered into an agreement with Upper Leon through the BRA to provide treated water to us as basically an insurance policy for us to use in lieu of need for our water supply. This is an annual contract that comes up. The part that we are looking at tonight is it's basically a pass-through charge for the raw water charge for the period September 1, 2024 through August 31, 2025. The amount is $185,269. That is the charge that they require us to pay them to make water accessible to us. This is a part of the contract. It is a 50-year contract. It runs from 1999 to 2049. So we're in the middle of that contract. It's an annual expense. It has been budgeted for, and that's one of the things, a cost of doing business, if you will, for the city to have a dual water supply. And Mr. Williams is here if we have any specific questions about that, or if we have a motion to make a recommendation to the council.
What was the previous rate?
I didn't have that memorized.
How bad?
Well, no, we budgeted specifically for.
Nick, there you go.
Budgeted specifically for this amount based upon conversations with Upper Leon, so I don't recall it going up that much. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at the number for you to define.
I was just
I don't
wondering,
have that.
you know, basically what our annual increase is, from year to year
So
since the beginning.
this is one of those contracts that, actually does not increase, year to year. It's voted on by a board at Upper Leon. And just goes, every couple of years they vote on it and increase it. I'm not saying that they don't do it consecutively, but there are consecutive years where it doesn't change at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Don't we usually turn right around and then we lease this, or we sell back again to farmers in that area and whatnot?
We have in the past, yes, sir.
And what's the difference? Are we getting versus what we're selling for what we're buying for?
Well, right now, we're not under contract to do that with the farmers.
We have been though in the last previous years.
It's not every year.
It's not?
It depends on their demand
Okay.
and what they need. If we get approached, then we certainly work to negotiate a deal and get council to approve
Okay.
that kind of a contract, but it's strictly on their demand.
Correct.
There is,
Yeah.
there is another entity that is considering asking us to buy that water as well. I've talked to Nick about that, that a subdivision might be able to use it and buy it. We would be selling it to Dublin because they already service that area. So we'd be selling it to Dublin and Dublin would sell it to that subdivision or that development. So there's a possibility we can enter that and Nick's support of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just to clarify, I think what Alan has already said, this was done in
99, yes, sir.
And it was a 50-year contract, so the council in 1999 signed a 50-year contract for this water. And that this city is bound by this contract for this 50-year period. Right?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay, pay for it,
There-
take it or leave it.
There are no termination clauses.
No
We,
termination clause.
we looked at that back when it happened.
So, just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, make the motion that we send the proposed rates for Upper Leon River Municipal Water District to council with a positive recommendation.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that will go to the council with a positive recommendation at the next council meeting. Next item on our agenda. Oh, I love technology.
If you get TikTok off there, it wouldn't be a problem.
That's what's killing me. The next item on our agenda is a proposal for an administrative services agreement for the city to apply for a CDBG grant through the state. Every year, the Texas TDA offers opportunities for cities to apply for funding to use in infrastructure improvements, specifically, if my memory is correct, water, wastewater, stormwater, and streets. And they offer this to the cities through the grant application process. In front of us, we have an application, or we have a contract proposal for administrative services to apply for that grant. Their fee is $60,000. It's a not-to-exceed fee. Would they apply and we don't get the grant, it costs us nothing. If they do, it's on a percentage. The max amount would be 60, but it's a percentage of the grant. So if the grant was less than the $750,000, their fee would be less. But they do the preparation for the documents and submit them to the state on behalf of the city to seek this grant. The Public Management Company is the organization that staff is recommending. They have done work for the city in the past with other grant projects, as well as the Texas Water Development Board for the East Side Sewer funding. So we're familiar with the company. We're familiar with their quality of work and their timeliness of work. And the recommendation from staff is to the committee to recommend to council that we employ them to apply for this grant. I think the deadline is December 9th, so we have time to discuss that if we need to, but I think staff has vetted them thoroughly and recommends them highly to do the work that is necessary to at least apply for this grant through the Texas Department of Agriculture. Any comments or questions?
I apologize, I might have missed this while I was reading. Have we ever received this grant before?
Yes, we've had it several times.
Okay.
It's been several years, and that's one of the reasons we're applying this year. You can apply every year, but if you apply every year, it minimizes your score. And it is a matching grant that we have, as a part of the application process, have agreed to use a 15% match to enhance our score in that grading process to seek this. There's nothing sure about it, but it's been several years since we got it, and the thought was it would probably be time to apply again. And I think Mr. Williams has no less than 10 or 12 different projects that we could apply this to if we were fortunate enough to be awarded the all or part of that money.
Yes.
The question before us is really, in effect, in a common language is, do we hire a grant writer or do we not? And that's basically what it is, and there's no downside for the city to do that, because there's no fee attached to it unless we're awarded the grant. And
Correct.
then it's gonna be a percentage of that.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And with a maximum of $60,000 if we receive $750,000 grant.
Yes, sir.
So I move that we move forward with this agreement with the Public Management Incorporated.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, that will go to the council with a positive recommendation. Our next item on the agenda is our solid waste franchise agreement, the annual rate adjustment requests. We have had a contract for disposal, hauling and disposal of our solid waste in the city of Stephenville for a number of years with several different organizations. At the present time, Waste Connections has the contract, and they're operating under Waste Connections Lone Star at this particular time. They have presented us with a proposed contract. The total for a residential customer, I believe, is $2.44 a month increase on the residential customers, but it is across the board for all of our commercial and residential customers. My suggestion would be that we send this to council with a recommendation of a not to exceed the 17.5% increase that they are asking for. And that way, if there's an opportunity, that might be addressed, but otherwise, the 17.5 is what they are requesting for an overall increase for the system, for the hauling and disposal of the waste. There are representatives from the company here now, if y'all have any specific questions for them. And the CPI and the other things that they have presented are in the documentation. I might call one chart specifically to the committee's attention. We're the only city in the area that has twice a week pickup. And we are not the most expensive even for the twice a week pickup. There's still a couple that are less expensive, but most of them are more expensive than we are. It's been my experience working with them in the past that they've been very responsive to questions and problems and have done a good job as far as picking up bulky items and doing things like that many of the other collection agencies do not do. And I think they have served the city well. I think the city has served them well, don't misunderstand me, but I think they have served the city well also because they've taken their obligation seriously, done their best to provide not only a good service, but a service that provides the things that our residents expect from us. I think if we were to do anything that reduced that service level from 2 times a week to 1 time a week, y'all's phones would light up almost instantly, because we've come to expect that. Nevertheless, this is the proposal that we have in front of us, and if we have comments, questions on that.
I just wanted to make a note, I appreciate you bringing up the fact that we do get two times a week service for this price, and we should be very thankful that we have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you all very much for what you do.
Yep, yep.
I have a home in another community that has waste service, and it's $58 a month
Mm-hmm.
instead of the proposed $16.41, and I get 1 time a week.
I think, you know, we get quality service and I appreciate that.
Let's not give them any ideas, Mayor.
Well,
We'll hold their feet to the fire.
do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make the motion that we send the solid waste franchise agreement annual rate adjustment request to council with a positive, yeah, there we go. Thank you. Recommendation.
Second.
As
As
is, or as a
As
not to
is.
exceed?
Oh, with the cap of the 17.5%.
Not with the not to exceed 17.5.
Correct.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Last item on my agenda, Mayor, the Lillian Street Pump Station, and I'm sure y'all are all aware where that is because we've had several residents in that area that have questioned us about development in that area recently. It was designed initially to have 2 1-million-gallon storage tanks in that facility. That facility receives raw water from 2 of our well fields, the Alexandra well field and the Bowman Ridge well field. And because of the increased use and because of the timeliness of it right now, it was staff's suggestion that we go ahead and begin the process to design an additional 1-million-gallon storage tank for that facility. We have in front of us a professional services agreement with Providence Engineering to do that design work on that 1-million-gallon ground storage tank at the Lillian Street Pump Station. This is similar to the tank that was constructed at the airport station. If y'all drove by and looked at that, it's a concrete tank. It's a visible structure, but it is a long-term structure. It's much better than the metal tank that we've used in the past with the liners and the plates and the other things. This is a much more durable structure. It will provide an additional 1 million gallons of storage, which is significant to the city because if we have any problems with production anywhere, the better the storage capabilities we have, it makes it better and easier for us to continue to provide an extremely valuable resource to our citizens. Providence Engineering, Mr. Riker has done work for us in the past. Mr. Williams is pleased with the quality of his work and the timeliness of his work. And his professional services agreement is $275,000 to provide the plans and specs, and then, if my memory is correct, to help with the actual construction as a part of the oversight team.
Yes, sir.
Once that is begun, he will also help by preparing the bid specs and evaluating bids, and then going through the bidders with us and making recommendations on that. So his services require a lot of pencil time, but they require a lot of his expertise and experience also. And so the recommendation from staff is that we agree with, that we enter into the professional services agreement with Providence as it is presented, and I think y'all all have a copy of that. Any questions or comments?
Again, this is gonna be about a 9-month timeline
For design, yes, sir.
for design.
Yes, sir. The geotechnical and the electrical work, piping, that's the duration that's expected, yes, sir.
Okay,
Your construction budget will be in next year's.
okay.
That's my question.
What was, just as another reason for trying to get this accomplished pretty quickly, besides growth and those things, what'd the one out there by the airport, what'd we spend on that?
Well, it was part of the much bigger project, but it's very similar to this amount. This is 2.8.
Right.
But I will tell you that the airport pump station was actually cheaper than this one is.
Correct. No, that's the point I was trying to
Okay.
make. Cost is going up. So
It's not gonna go down. The only other point I would try to make is that Mr. Nix pointed out that the Lillian Pump Station is a pivotal point. It receives water from those two different well fields, and most folks up here will recall, we had to take that pump station out of service to make repairs to that tank, and so that is kind of a weak point in our system. And so this gives us the redundancy at that pump station to make sure that if we ever have to take that tank down again, that we have that, so nobody's interrupted with service.
Do I have a motion?
I forgot to say recommendation. I'll let Gerald do it.
He wants Gerald to do it.
I move that we recommend that Providence Engineering be selected to do as professional services for this particular project at a sum of $275,000.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Now that passes. Mayor, that's the end of my agenda.
Thank you, sir. 7:02, and the council committee meetings will adjourn, and we're going to meet back in the training room for a
And then it's down at the end of that.
council work session. We'll reconvene back